Do your feet tingle at night for no clear reason? Do your hands feel numb, weak, or slightly off during the day? Maybe you've experienced a burning sensation, sharp stabbing pain, or even an electric-like feeling running through your legs or fingers. At first, it may seem minor, something you ignore or blame on fatigue, but over time, these sensations become more frequent, more intense, and harder to explain. Many people are told this is just part of getting older, that nerve pain, numbness, or tingling is something you simply have to live with after a certain age. But what if that's not the full story? What if these symptoms are actually early warning signs of something slowly damaging your nerves, something you may be exposed to every single day without even realizing it? Here's the uncomfortable truth. The cause might not be rare or extreme. It might not be a disease you've been diagnosed with. Instead, it could be something so common, so routine, that it has quietly become part of your daily habits. And if that's the case, then the most important question becomes, what exactly is this hidden trigger, and how long has it been affecting your body without you noticing? For years, many people have been told a simple explanation for these symptoms. It's just aging, tingling, numbness, burning pain. These are often dismissed as normal changes that come with getting older. But this belief, while common, is deeply misleading. Aging itself does not directly destroy your nerves. It may slow certain processes in the body, but it is not the root cause of nerve damage. In reality, what we often label as aging is the visible result of long-term stress and damage that has been building up silently over time. The body doesn't suddenly fail overnight. Instead, it responds to years of exposure to harmful factors, many of which are preventable. This is important because if the problem were truly just age, there would be very little you could do about it. But if the real cause lies elsewhere, then it means there is also a way to slow it down or even stop it from getting worse. So what is actually driving this process? The answer is not something rare or complicated. It's something far more common, something most people experience daily without thinking twice. And once you understand what that is, you begin to see that these symptoms are not inevitable. They are signals. The real driver behind this silent nerve damage is something called blood sugar toxicity. This may sound surprising, especially if you've never been diagnosed with diabetes. But the truth is, you do not need to have diabetes for elevated blood sugar to harm your nerves. All it takes is repeated spikes, small, frequent rises in blood sugar that occur throughout the day. Every time you eat foods that rapidly convert into sugar, such as refined carbohydrates or sugary drinks, your blood glucose levels rise. In response, your body releases insulin to move that sugar into your cells. But over time, if this cycle repeats too often, your cells become less responsive. This is known as insulin resistance. As a result, sugar remains in your bloodstream longer than it should. This is where the damage begins. Excess sugar in the blood doesn't just sit there harmlessly. It starts to attach to proteins and nerve fibers in a process known as glycation. This leads to inflammation, oxidative stress, and direct damage to the tiny blood vessels that supply oxygen and nutrients to your nerves. Without proper nourishment, nerves begin to weaken and lose their ability to function correctly. The longest nerves in your body, those that reach your feet and hands, are often affected first. That's why symptoms like tingling, numbness, or burning sensations usually start in these areas. At first, it may come and go, but as exposure continues, the damage becomes more persistent and more severe. What makes this especially dangerous is how invisible it is in the early stages. Many people assume their blood sugar is fine because they don't have diabetes. But even slightly elevated levels, especially in prediabetes, can create enough stress to damage nerve tissue over time. In fact, research shows that nerve damage can begin years before diabetes is officially diagnosed. In other words, the problem is not just high blood sugar, it's unstable blood sugar. Frequent spikes, even within what is considered a normal range, can gradually erode nerve health. And because this process is slow and silent, most people don't connect their daily habits to the symptoms they feel later. This is why understanding blood sugar toxicity is so critical. It shifts the focus from treating symptoms to addressing the root cause. Because once you reduce these repeated spikes, you are no longer feeding the damage, you are giving your nerves a chance to stabilize and protect themselves. To truly understand why nerve damage becomes so severe over time, it's important to look at what is happening beneath the surface. This process is driven by two major forces, inflammation and oxidative stress. These are not sudden events, they build gradually, quietly disrupting the delicate balance your nerves depend on to function. When blood sugar levels spike repeatedly, the body enters a state of chronic, low-grade inflammation. This inflammation doesn't just affect joints or muscles, it directly impacts nerve tissue. Nerves are highly sensitive structures, and even small amounts of inflammation can interfere with their ability to send clear signals. Over time, this leads to distorted communication between your brain and body, which is why sensations like tingling, numbness, or burning begin to appear. At the same time, oxidative stress begins to increase. This occurs when harmful molecules called free radicals outnumber the antioxidants that normally keep them in check. Excess sugar in the bloodstream accelerates this imbalance, creating a toxic environment for nerve cells. These free radicals start damaging the cells themselves, as well as the tiny blood vessels that supply them with oxygen and nutrients. But one of the most critical aspects of nerve damage involves the breakdown of the protective coating around nerves, known as the myelin sheath. This sheath acts like insulation around an electrical wire, ensuring that signals travel quickly and accurately. When inflammation and oxidative stress weaken or damage this protective layer, nerve signals become slower, distorted, or even lost entirely. As a result, the body begins to misinterpret signals. You may feel pain when there is no injury, or lose sensation where there should be feeling. This is why neuropathy can present in so many different ways: burning, stabbing, numbness, or even a complete loss of balance. What makes this process particularly dangerous is that it feeds on itself. As damage increases, circulation worsens, which further reduces the delivery of nutrients and oxygen to the nerves. This creates a cycle where damage accelerates over time. Understanding this mechanism makes one thing clear: nerve damage is not random. It is the result of ongoing internal stress that, if left unchecked, will continue to progress. One of the most dangerous aspects of nerve damage is how silently it develops. Unlike a sudden injury that causes immediate pain, this process unfolds slowly, often over many years, without clear warning signs. Long before you feel tingling, numbness, or burning sensations, your nerves may already be under stress and gradually losing function. This is what makes it so easy to overlook. In the early stages, the symptoms are mild or inconsistent. You might feel a slight tingling that comes and goes, or occasional numbness that you dismiss as poor circulation or temporary fatigue. Because the discomfort is not constant, most people ignore it or assume it's nothing serious. Meanwhile, the underlying damage continues to build. Each spike in blood sugar, each moment of inflammation, adds another layer of stress to your nerve tissue. But since the changes are happening at a microscopic level, you don't feel the full impact right away. By the time symptoms become noticeable and persistent, a significant amount of damage may have already occurred. This is why many people say their condition came out of nowhere, when in reality, it has been developing quietly for years. The body often gives subtle signals before serious problems appear. Tingling, slight numbness, or unusual sensations are not random, they are early warnings. And recognizing these signals early can make a critical difference. Because once nerve damage progresses too far, it becomes much harder to manage or reverse. To stop nerve damage at its source, you first need to recognize where the poison is coming from in your daily life. In most cases, it doesn't come from anything extreme or unusual, it comes from everyday habits that seem completely normal. There are three major sources that quietly drive blood sugar spikes and accelerate nerve damage. The first and most harmful source is liquid sugar. This includes fruit juice, smoothies, sweetened coffee drinks, and even beverages marketed as healthy. The problem is not just the sugar itself, but how quickly it enters your bloodstream. Without fiber to slow absorption, liquid sugar causes a rapid spike in blood glucose levels. This sudden surge puts immediate stress on your nerves and the small blood vessels that support them. Many people believe drinking juice is a good way to get vitamins, but in reality, it is one of the fastest ways to expose your nerves to repeated damage. The second major source is refined carbohydrates, especially when eaten alone. Foods like white bread, cereal, crackers, rice, and pasta are quickly broken down into sugar during digestion. When consumed without protein or healthy fat, they cause sharp increases in blood sugar, followed by rapid drops. This cycle creates instability in the body, forcing your nerves to operate under constant stress. Over time, this repeated exposure contributes to inflammation, weakens nerve function, and accelerates the breakdown of protective structures. The third source, which is often overlooked, is constant snacking throughout the day. While it may seem harmless to eat small amounts frequently, this habit keeps blood sugar and insulin levels elevated for long periods. As a result, your body never enters a stable state, and your nerves never get a chance to recover. Instead of having clear periods of rest and repair, they remain in a constant state of exposure to glucose and inflammation. What makes these three sources especially dangerous is how common they are. Many people follow these habits believing they are making healthy choices, but when combined, they create a continuous cycle of blood sugar spikes that quietly damage nerve tissue over time. Recognizing these patterns is the first step toward breaking the cycle. Because once you remove or adjust these daily habits, you are no longer feeding the damage, you are giving your body the opportunity to stabilize and protect your nerves. Beyond blood sugar, there is another hidden factor that many people never consider: nutrient depletion, especially vitamin B12 deficiency. Vitamin B12 plays a critical role in maintaining the health of your nerves. It is essential for preserving the myelin sheath, the protective coating that surrounds nerve fibers and allows signals to travel smoothly. Without enough B12, this protective layer begins to break down, leaving nerves exposed, fragile, and more prone to damage. What makes this issue particularly concerning is that many seniors become deficient in B12 without realizing it. In some cases, it's not due to diet, but rather long-term use of certain medications. Acid-blocking drugs, some diabetes medications, and even cholesterol-lowering drugs can interfere with B12 absorption over time. As a result, even people who believe they are eating well may still experience deficiency. Let me share a real example. A patient named Susan, in her early 70s, had been dealing with numbness in her feet for years. She was told it was simply aging, but when her nutrient levels were tested, she was found to be severely deficient in vitamin B12. The cause wasn't her food, it was a medication she had taken daily for a long time. Once the deficiency was corrected, her symptoms didn't disappear overnight, but the progression of her nerve damage stopped. This highlights an important truth. Nerve damage is often not caused by a single factor. It is the result of multiple hidden influences working together. And identifying these hidden causes can make a critical difference in protecting your long-term nerve health. If blood sugar toxicity is the root cause of nerve damage, then the most effective solution is not complicated. It is learning how to keep your blood sugar stable throughout the day. This does not mean chasing perfect numbers or following extreme diets. It means avoiding sharp spikes and sudden drops that place continuous stress on your nerves. The first and most important principle is stability. Every rapid increase in blood sugar acts like a small chemical injury to nerve tissue. Over time, these repeated spikes create inflammation, oxidative stress, and damage that accumulates silently. By keeping blood sugar steady, you reduce this ongoing harm and give your nerves a chance to function under more stable conditions. One of the simplest yet most powerful rules is this: never eat carbohydrates alone. Foods like bread, fruit, rice, or crackers, when consumed by themselves, are quickly broken down into sugar and absorbed into the bloodstream. This leads to a sharp rise in blood glucose levels. However, when these same carbohydrates are eaten together with protein or healthy fats, the absorption process slows down significantly. This results in a gentler, more controlled increase in blood sugar, reducing stress on your nerves. For example, instead of eating fruit on its own, pair it with yogurt, nuts, or a meal. Instead of eating bread alone, combine it with eggs, avocado, or another source of protein. This small adjustment can dramatically change how your body processes sugar and can help prevent further nerve irritation. The second critical step is eliminating liquid sugar entirely. This includes fruit juice, sweetened drinks, and smoothies, even those labeled as natural or healthy. Liquid sugar is absorbed extremely quickly because it lacks fiber, causing immediate spikes in blood glucose. These spikes are among the most damaging to nerve tissue. If you want the benefits of fruit, it is always better to eat whole fruit in small portions and preferably after a meal, when your body is better prepared to handle it. By removing liquid sugar and restructuring how you consume carbohydrates, you begin to break the cycle of repeated blood sugar spikes. This does not require perfection, but consistency. Over time, these changes reduce inflammation, improve metabolic balance, and most importantly, protect your nerves from further damage. In many cases, people expect complex solutions, but the truth is far simpler. It is not about doing everything differently, it is about doing a few key things correctly every single day. In addition to stabilizing blood sugar, proper nutrition plays a crucial role in protecting and supporting nerve health. Certain key nutrients act as building blocks for nerve function and help reduce ongoing damage. Among the most important is vitamin B12, which is essential for maintaining the myelin sheath, the protective layer that surrounds nerve fibers. Without sufficient B12, nerves become exposed and more vulnerable to misfiring, leading to symptoms like numbness, tingling, and pain. Magnesium is another vital nutrient that supports nerve signaling and helps calm overactive nerve responses. It can reduce muscle cramps, twitching, and discomfort, often associated with nerve irritation. Folate works closely with B12 to support cellular repair and maintain the integrity of nerve tissue. Together, they help ensure that nerve signals remain stable and efficient. Alpha-lipoic acid, ALA, is a powerful antioxidant that helps reduce oxidative stress within nerve cells. It has been studied for its potential to improve symptoms of neuropathy by protecting nerves from further damage and supporting their metabolic function. However, it is important to approach supplementation carefully. More is not always better. In fact, taking certain vitamins in excessive amounts, especially vitamin B6, can actually worsen nerve damage instead of improving it. This is why proper testing and guidance are essential before starting any supplement routine. Nutritional support is not a quick fix, but when used correctly, it provides your nerves with the tools they need to stabilize, repair, and function more effectively over time. In the end, what many people accept as an unavoidable part of aging is often not caused by age itself. Tingling, numbness, and nerve pain are not simply signs that your body is wearing out. More often, they are signals warnings that something deeper is happening beneath the surface. And in many cases, that something is within your control. This is important because it changes everything. If the problem were truly just age, there would be very little you could do. But if it is driven by daily habits, especially blood sugar instability and nutrient imbalances, then it means you have the power to intervene. Start with a simple 2-4-week plan. Remove liquid sugar completely. Stop eating carbohydrates on their own. Always pair them with protein or healthy fats. Pay attention to how your body responds. Notice changes in your symptoms, your energy, and your overall comfort. If possible, check your nutrient levels, especially vitamin B12, and correct any deficiencies with proper guidance. You may not reverse all existing damage, and it's important to be realistic about that. But stopping the progression is just as powerful. Less pain, better balance, improved sleep, and greater confidence in your daily life. These are meaningful outcomes. Your nerves do not fail overnight, and they do not improve overnight either. But once you remove the source of damage and support your body correctly, you give yourself the best possible chance to protect what matters most: your mobility, your independence, and your quality of life.